The DA segment, April is right around the corner, and during that month, it's about raising awareness. April is National Sexual Assault Awareness Month, as well as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Joining us now in studio, we have Montgomery County Deputy District Attorney Samantha Sizemore and Leanna Smith. Ladies, thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Samantha, we'll start with you. Talk about the issues of sexual violence and child abuse and how they kind of can relate in some instances.
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing that we're seeing most common is that the child sexual assault is actually coming from either family members, people within the home, or people that are really connected to the children. And it's really important that we don't just stereotype this child abuse and child sexual assault is coming from, you know, some scary kidnapper or something like that, but it actually coming from someone who's very close to the child.
And that means having conversations with our kids. Leanna, these can be very difficult topics to discuss with kids and with teens. How do we start that conversation? And then talk about the Family Justice Unit, how you work with families.
Yeah, I think the most important part about having those conversations is just creating an open dialogue with your children. I understand that this is a tough topic, but it's an important topic. 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 5 boys before they turn the age of 18 are a victim of some type of child sexual assault, and 45% of those don't report or disclose for more than 5 years.
Oh, that's scary numbers.
It's scary numbers. So just creating that open dialogue with your children to come to you or come to someone even that they trust, even if it's someone at school or your church or your local community, someone that they can confide in and, you know, bring forth that to where it can come to our office in the Family Justice Unit and our partners to seek justice for them, because we want to do that and hold people accountable that do these things to children.
When those cases, or you get tips in your office, what's the next step? What happens next?
Usually what happens is the disclosure is made usually to law enforcement. It gets reported to the Department of Human Resources, and then an interview is set up in child cases with Child Protect, where a forensic interview can be done with a specially trained interviewer in a comforting environment to where we can allow the child to talk about the traumatic thing that's happened to them. And we later use those interviews in our prosecutions, especially for someone who's under the age of 12. We can actually play that Child Protect in court, and it's the best testimony because it's going to be the freshest recollection of what a child has gone through.
Samantha, this month, April, is about raising awareness and prevention. What does that look like?
So really and truly, it's got to start with the conversations we're having at home with the kids. We've got to create open spaces and educate ourselves on things to look for. Look for changes of behaviors with the kid. Look for not necessarily the act itself, but maybe some of those grooming type behaviors that the adults in the lives of these children are having with them. And then if a child does come forward and disclose something, it's so important to not be dismissive of the child, because even though that may not have been the adult's experience with that other individual, but just create an atmosphere where the kids feel like it's okay for them to disclose and follow up and actually report when you do hear that disclosure.
Leanna, she gave a lot of good tips. Any other things that you want parents or, let's say, mentors, teachers, coaches, things they need to look out for if they're interacting with children?
I think mainly what I see with children, and I work a lot with Child Protect, obviously. Typically with children, you see a change in behavior. And I know that a lot of kids, when they grow up, they do go through these behavior changes, but sometimes something out of the ordinary, even if it's something small, can be a small indicator. And once you see that, having that conversation and trying to have that open dialogue to where that child can disclose and we can get them help. I know Child Protect is a big advocate of that. And the other important thing is once a child has disclosed, getting them counseling. Child Protect provides counseling services to children of sexual assaults and child abuse, and they can also help establish counseling for even like their caretakers and their parents as well, because counseling is just important as for the entire family as it is for the victim themselves.
Because they have to heal too, those parents and
yes,
any sort of caretakers that are going through this as well. Where can parents find these resources? How can they help in the month of April?
Specifically calling our office, calling the Montgomery County DA's office, calling local law enforcement. We also encourage people to reach out to One Place Family Justice Center for interviews and resources as well.
We have the DA's office number, One Place Family Justice Center's number, and Child Protect's number there. on the screen, all good resources.
I do have one more thing that I would like to kind of plug. CASA is Court-Appointed Special Advocates. They are hosting, along with the other agencies in Montgomery, a child abuse awareness event on Friday at the Montgomery County Youth Facility at 11:30. Juvenile court judge, presiding judge Calvin Williams will be speaking, and I think it's a great event to come together with all these agencies to highlight Child Abuse Prevention Month. So that's on Friday at 11:30.
And that's on Friday, kicking off April to raise awareness and the key word prevention.
Yes.
Prevention during this month. Thank y'all so much for joining us here in
Thank you.
Alabama
Thank
Live.
you.
We
Thank you
truly
for having us.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks.
And coming up, a special concert